All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 74 of Pozios Picks. In today's episode, we are going over the Week 4 college football slate. A lot of decent games on today's slate. Not the best, but we're getting into conference play for a lot of these games, so let's get right into it. First game I want to go over, we're going to go in chronological order, obviously, starting with some noon games. Clemson are 7-point favorites at Wake Forest. Clemson is going there for this one. I feel like no matter how bad Clemson is and how good Wake Forest is, Clemson always finds a way to win this game. I mean, last year, for example, Clemson was much worse, in my opinion, and Wake was much better, and Clemson still won by 3 touchdowns. That game was at home, but still. I think this is a big prove-it game for Clemson because it's arguably their second toughest game on their schedule. If they can take care of business here and have a convincing win, I think they've got a pretty good shot of setting themselves up to go to the playoff. I still believe in this Clemson defense, especially that D-line. If they can make Hartman uncomfortable, especially early, maybe force a turnover or two, I think Clemson wins this game by a couple scores. So I'll buy the point. Give me Clemson minus 6.5 here on the road. Next game I want to go over, the Kansas Jayhawks are hosting the Duke Blue Devils. Talk about a basketball matchup, but both of these teams are 3-0 in football as well. I can't believe I'm doing it, but we're going to bet on Kansas football. Kansas has looked really good the first 3 weeks. The last 2 weeks, they've beat West Virginia and Houston on the road. They finally come back home for this one, and they faced a Duke team that hasn't really played anyone so far, even though they're 3-0. This Kansas offense can actually move the ball. They've got a bunch of playmakers. Duke has been giving up points to everyone. So my favorite play in this game is going to be the Kansas team total over 35 points. I think this Kansas team is good for at least 5 touchdowns. And on top of that, I'm going to take them to cover at home as well. I'll take the -7. I think Kansas has actually been tested. They've had 2 big road games. They're finally coming back home. They're excited to play in front of their fans, and I think they've got a big advantage in this one. So give me Kansas -7 and Kansas team total over 35 points. Next game on the slate, Maryland is going into the Big House to take on the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is finally playing a real team with a real football program 4 weeks into the season. Congratulations. All jokes aside, though, they have looked really good. I really respect J.J. McCarthy's game. I know Michigan fans are really excited to see what he can do in this one. Maryland has been okay to start the year, a couple of slow starts, but they're definitely going to be ready to go for this one. Michigan's going to win this game. I mean, there's just no way that they lose at home as this big of a favorite, but this spread is a little bit tricky to me. I haven't completely bought in on this Michigan defense yet since they haven't played anyone. I think Maryland will be able to move the ball. They've got experience on that offensive side, and Michigan's going to be able to move the ball as well just because of the talent that they have. I like the over in this game for my play just because, like I said, the spread's a little bit tricky. I can see maybe like a little backdoor situation possible. So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to buy a point here. Give me over 63.5 in the Big House. Moving on to the 3:30 slate now. First game I'm going to go over. We just went over Michigan. I got to go over Michigan State. MSU are 3-point underdogs at home against Minnesota. The Golden Gophers are coming to East Lansing. There's no other way to say it. We got dogged last week in Washington. We looked horrible. Michael Penix destroyed us the whole game. The secondary looked terrible. We weren't ready to go. You could tell from the first snap of the game. If you follow us on Pickett at Pozios Picks, I told you in the first quarter, cash out your bets. Cash them out. We also learned, obviously, Jaden Reed and Jacob Slade weren't going to go. That was a big factor as well. But just by the way we looked, there was no way we were ever going to win that game. So Minnesota has looked really good to start the year behind the legs of Muhammad Ibrahim, arguably one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, if not the best. They haven't really played anyone yet, but all 3 of their wins have been by at least 38 points. So they've been taking care of business. I really can't believe we're a home dog here, especially after what happened last week. I think this is a textbook bounce back spot at home. Hopefully, we get Jaden Reed back, but we haven't heard anything official yet. If we are able to contain their run game, I think we win this game straight up. I think we win this game easily if we can contain that run. I love what I saw from Thorne last week. Finally, it looked like he was comfortable throwing the ball. He actually wanted to make some of those throws. He was a bit hesitant the first couple of weeks, I felt. But especially with the play of Keon Coleman last week and lately, I think Thorne is ready to go. If we can get Jaden Reed back and we've got two solid options at wide receiver on top of our other receivers, I think we can be dangerous. Keon looks really good. It really seems like he's coming into his own, and Thorne is, like I said, finally throwing the ball with some confidence. That's going to be huge for us down the stretch. Everyone knows we always play better as an underdog. The fact Minnesota just lost their star receiver, Autman Bell, is huge for us as well. Obviously, that sucks. I wish him a speedy recovery, but it's big for us, especially how the secondary looked last week. So as long as we stay locked in on defense and we limit the big plays on the ground and in the air. Ibrahim definitely has big playability on the ground. We got to limit the big plays in the air as well. Big plays is what killed us last week. We had some solid possessions on defense. We also had some horrible ones where we just got gouged for 60 yards over and over. It was terrible. So limit the big plays. Control the pace a little bit. I know Mel is going to have the guys ready to go after we got our asses kicked last week. So give me the points here for Sparty. I love that we got points to work with. I'll take MSU plus 3.5, and we're going to sprinkle on MSU money line as well. Next game on the slate, the Florida Gators are going to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Tennessee are 10.5-point favorites in this one, and the over-under is 63 points. Maybe the best game of the day, a top 20 matchup. Florida has not been particularly convincing after knocking off Utah in week 1. Tennessee, on the other hand, has been solid, and this offense has just continued to cruise. I expect Tennessee to do what they normally do in this one. They're going to run their offense at just a ridiculous pace. They're going to keep things moving, and they're going to score points. I think Florida's going to realize early that they're just going to have to try to score with this team. I don't think they're going to be able to slow them down. I think they're going to lean on Anthony Richardson to make some big plays, and he's got that ability easily. So for those reasons, I love the over here. I think it's going to be rocking at Neyland. They obviously hold a ton of fans there, a big rivalry game, and both of these teams are finally good. Both offenses have big playmakers, so I like the over 63 in Tennessee. Next game on the slate, Notre Dame is heading to North Carolina to take on the Tar Heels. This game kind of stinks, but I think there's a clear play here. Notre Dame has struggled on offense, but this North Carolina defense cannot stop anybody. And on the other side of the ball, Carolina has some guys that can make some big plays, especially with the play of Drake May lately, their quarterback. I don't think this one's going to be that easy, but I'm taking the over 55.5 for this one. I just think it's a good opportunity for Notre Dame to finally move the ball, get some rhythm on offense against this terrible Carolina defense. And I think Carolina's going to have success on their offense as well. So all we need is a few touchdowns and maybe a field goal or two for each team. I'll take that risk. Give me the over 55.5 in North Carolina. Next game on the slate, the Northern Illinois Huskies are going to Kentucky to take on the Wildcats. Kentucky are 26.5-point favorites at home in this one. Kentucky, after a really slow start last week, took care of business, but Coach Stoops was not happy at all with their performance offensively. I think Kentucky comes out firing in this one, and that Kentucky defense is no joke either. I think they're going to be able to hold Northern Illinois down. NIU quarterback Rocky Lombardi, MSU transfer, obviously, also might not be able to go in this one. So I love the Cats' chances to really pile it on here and make a statement, get some rhythm back. Give me Kentucky first half minus 14.5 and Kentucky game minus 26.5, especially if Lombardi is out. Like I said earlier, keep an eye on our picket at Pozios Picks. We're going to be posting all the live updates there. So Kentucky minus 14.5 first half and Kentucky game minus 26.5. Next game on the slate, Arkansas is taking on Texas A&M at Jerry World. Arkansas are 3.5-point underdogs in this one. This is going to be an awesome game in Dallas. It's going to be a packed house. Texas A&M had a big win over Miami last week, but that offense still looks so questionable. Arkansas not as convincing last week, did not cover at home, but took care of business and won the game in the end. I think I got to keep rolling with the Razorbacks here. They've just looked better throughout the season so far. Like I said, this Texas A&M offense is super suspect right now, and if they can't put something together in this game, they're going to be in big trouble getting into SEC play here. This is by far the most electric offense Texas A&M has played. I expect KJ Jefferson to make some plays and keep the Razorbacks, if not winning, at least in this game with how the Texas A&M offense has looked. I love that we've got points to work with here. Give me Arkansas plus 3.5 in Dallas. Next game on the slate, Ohio State are 19.5-point favorites hosting the Wisconsin Badgers in the shoe. This line opened at 15 last week and has continued to creep up ever since. Ohio State looked like Ohio State last week, finally hanging 77 points on Toledo at home. They finally have got everyone back and healthy. Wisconsin has looked okay to start the year, but Graham Mertz is still a big question mark for them. If they're not able to establish a run early with Braylon Allen, I think this one gets ugly quick. Ohio State loves beating up on these lower Big Ten opponents, especially when they're at home. They'll be ready to go for Big Ten play. I just don't see how this one stays close unless C.J. Stroud has the worst game he's ever played. Give me Ohio State minus 19.5 and the game over 57 points. I think Ohio State can score 57 points on their own if they really get hot today. So Ohio State to win by pretty much 3 touchdowns and the game over 57. We're winding down here. A couple games left. The next game on the slate is going to be Charlotte traveling to South Carolina to take on the Cox. I'm not going to go too deep into this one. Both of these offenses are solid, and both of these defenses are not that good at all. Charlotte might be the worst defense in the country. They're giving up 563 yards per game this season. South Carolina is going to be good to give up a touchdown or two as well. This is one of those games where you take the over, sit there, watch it, collect your winnings. Give me South Carolina team total over 44.5 in this one. I like the game over as well, but I'm not going to play it officially yet. Keep an eye on our picket. Depending on how the day goes, that play might get added later. But for now, we're just going to take South Carolina team total over 44.5. If you want, I do feel comfortable sprinkling the game over as well. Last game I'm going to go over on the slate. Oklahoma are 13.5-point favorites at home against Kansas State. This one is simple to me as well. Kansas State just does not have the offense to keep up with Oklahoma whatsoever. I mean, they scored 10 points last week in a loss to Tulane at home, and they were 2-touchdown favorites. Oklahoma and that offense have just looked fantastic, and they've been getting better and better each week. They're averaging over 500 yards of offense a game. Kansas State is definitely the best defense they've played so far, but I think they can absolutely still win this game by 2 touchdowns. So give me Oklahoma minus 13.5 at home here. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching if you are on YouTube. If you are watching, our new merch is live. You can see it on the screen here. We've got some fire new merch for the fall. New jackets, new hoodies, new crew necks, beanies, anything you want. You can see them up on the screen. The link for the new merch is down below. Also, like I said earlier, be sure to follow us over on Picket. If you haven't signed up for Picket yet, you need to. It's just the best app to track all of your bets automatically during this football season. We've got basketball season coming up as well. Not only can you track your bets, you can see what everyone else in the community is taking. You can line shop for everything, props, spreads, totals, all that good stuff. It really is just the best. Use the link down low in our link tree to sign up on Picket and use our promo code Pozios Picks. You get either a $3 or a $100 sign-up bonus if you are lucky. Be sure to follow us over on Twitter as well. We've been doing some giveaways so far this year. that's all I've got for you guys today. Good luck to everyone on their Saturday bets. We will see you guys tomorrow for the NFL preview. Peace.